This is Joe Price. I just wanted to provide some context and instructions on a new project we've set up. It provides the ability to merge some duplicates on the family tree. Uh, the context here is that we have a tool that can take families from census records in the United States and check to see if anyone in the family has a possible match to the tree. And if no one in the family has a possible match to the tree, then we add them to the tree. Now, what will sometimes happen is once we've added that family to the tree, then Family Search is able to look at that information and will sometimes find a possible duplicate. So we don't quite know why the match doesn't find it, but the duplicates do, but it happens. And so if a lot of the family members have duplicates, and we just take the whole family off, but sometimes there's just one person in the family that has a duplicate. And so what we're going to be doing is merging those duplicates. And the really beautiful thing that will happen is sometimes you'll put together a 3-generational family. So let me show you how this works. I'll share my screen. So here we are in the Google Sheet. I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see it a little easier. But you can see that there's a column for volunteer, a column for result. There's a URL and then a count. The count tells you how many people are in the family. And then the sum dupes tells you how many people in the family have a possible duplicate. So what we were focusing on is families that have a big gap between the number of people in the family and the number that have duplicates. If these numbers were closer together, then we would just take the whole family off of the family tree. But these are actually great cases where we have a big family and only one duplicate. So again, you can put your name in here. And then that's just your way of checking out the row. And then you'll click on the URL and you'll open it up. So you can see here, here we are in the possible duplicate screen. So the family on the left will always be the family that we added to the tree. And the family on the right will be the family or the person where we found a possible duplicate. And so this is the most important step, is kind of looking at all the information and making a decision about whether it's a match. And if you need to, you can always, go look at this person's page if you want to see more. Now, notice this person did already have some possible duplicates. And you can see here that also she's here with 2 different parents. So for whatever reason, and you can see that this was back in 2019. So even before we added her to the tree, there was already some duplication. But we can look here and we can see that actually everything here lines up really well. You can see that they were married here in Fauquier County. That's where they were living. You can see we have a really good name match, a good birth info match. The only thing that really differs a lot here is the father has a birth year difference of about 4 years, but everything else looks pretty good. And sometimes if I'm not absolutely sure, here's one trick that I like to do. Sometimes I might just start attaching more information here. And sometimes that can help clear up if it's a match or not. The other thing I will sometimes do is go take a look on Ancestry and see what Ancestry thinks. Because sometimes I can find a public member tree or some hints on Ancestry that makes it really clear that these are duplicates or not. And just to be clear, like, we'd much rather us not merge together 2 people that are different people than to just leave a duplicate unmerged. But you can see here I have Lily showing up in a public member tree that has her in the 1910 census. And here she is living in Marshall, Fauquier, Virginia. And if we come over here, that's exactly the same record we have. So in this case, it looks like someone on Family Search, or sorry, someone on Ancestry made a decision that these are a match. And it seems like they've done pretty careful work in terms of attaching multiple sources. So then I'm going to decide that this is a match. I can hit yes and continue. And then here, we're just looking to bring over the best information to the right side. So everything there looks good. So now we've finished the most important tasks. And then what I would probably encourage you to do is just, there's other duplicates, and we should just spend a little bit of time, just clean this family up and merge all of the duplicates. And I might do some of that afterwards. But you can see here that this is, again, another duplicate. But the cool thing is, as we merge these duplicates, we're really creating a very complete profile for this individual by getting her in a lot of different census records. And then one thing I like to do is just copy the ID. And then here I can come. Sometimes the hints will show up right here, which is great. If they don't, then what I can do is I can also come down here and hit merge by ID and drop it in there. Sometimes that will be the same one that you see up in the upper right, but this one you can make sure you get it. So there you can see that what we're doing is basically bringing together all of these Robert Bens that had been connected to the different the Lily daughters. And so same thing here, we're going to bring all these lilies together. So again, this might take a little bit of time, but I really think it's worth it to get the duplication out of the way so that we don't duplicate temple work and that people have a better experience when they come. Okay, so after the video, I'll finish merging the rest of those. But then at that point, I would just put a 1 right here. Let's take a look at one other example. So we're going to open this up. And again, sometimes it's really clear from this screen whether or not it's a duplicate or not. Let's see. So again, what I like to do is kind of line the two families up. So here we have a John Brand. Notice the birth year's off by 5 years. We have a Hester Brand, birth year's off by 2. We do have them living in the same county. But the challenge, and so you can see why Family Search maybe thought this was a possible duplicate, because there is some information that's very similar. But then as we start to look at the kids, we have Rose in 92, Lavinia 93, Nettie in 97, Rosanna 94, Rose in 92. I don't see any of the kids lining up. And so in this case, I'm going to say not a match. And I'm going to say the information children of these two women have lots of contradictions. Or we could say don't line up well. Oops. Oops, sorry, back. The children of these two women don't. So then in that case, again, now notice there are some other sources we could attach here, and you're welcome to do that. But then here I would just put 0 was, no, sorry, we can think about the convention we want to use. I'm just going to put in here, not a match. Okay, so let's try one more. Click on the link right here. And we can kind of look at these, all the information side by side. Notice here we have an exact match on the city. Okay, the parents are looking like they're pretty similar. There's Jane, Joanna. Here we have Mary lining up reasonably well, Luis lining up pretty well, Clara lining up really well, and Andrew lining up really well. So this is an interesting family where the possible duplicate said there was only one of these people that was a duplicate, but what it looks like to me is that actually most all of them are duplicates. So you have kind of two options right here. You could merge all these duplicates. That would be totally fine. This is a lot of duplicates to merge. So you could also just say, you could just write a note that says remove. We could say lots of duplicates, remove family. You're welcome to do that. That just means that we'll use our code to take that family back off of the tree. And that'll work if we're if we were the only ones that touched this family, which it looks like the case. You can see here. And if you click here, you can see that this was added by the US Census Project. Okay. So I hope these instructions make sense, and feel free to make other instructions. But the really key features here is we have a URL that points us to a possible duplicate. The count tells us how many people were in the family that we added to the tree using our automated tool. Some dupes tells us how many of those people that were added have a possible duplicate. And then you can see here that sometimes there's a lot of work involved because there's not just the duplicate that we created, but that the person sometimes has other duplicates. And I think we really want to make these as clean and connected as possible. And then in some cases, it's just not a match, and you can put that section. So feel free to put notes in here. I guess it looks like here Mark's doing 0 for children don't match. So that's actually probably fine. We can just put a 0 in if we don't think it matches. And if there's any time that you want someone to come back and check on your work, you can always put a 0.5. So thanks for helping with this project. We're really excited to use this as a way to create more connection on the family tree. In 2022, we did a lot to increase the coverage on the family tree so people could find their ancestors. And now what we want to do is make the tree much more connected by merging some strategic duplicates that will help bring two big families. And what I mean by bringing two families together is a lot of times what we're doing is merging together a person where that person's with their parents, with a record where they're with their spouse and children. And when we merge that duplicate, we're actually creating a 3-generational chain for that family. So we can actually see a whole bunch of people connected. And as we do that more and more, those networks are going to start to connect with each other and turn into very big interconnected networks that will connect into the bigger family tree and make it so everyone can see how they're related to each other. So thanks for all that you're doing to make that possible for people to see their connection with each other.